is intoxicating. Hello, I'm Joe. Welcome to another video. This time we'll be talking about a vehicle which is very special. So special, in fact, that special is its middle name. This is a HSV, which is a Holden special vehicle. HSV are the tuning house of Holden vehicles, and you know, there's a bit of history with Holden here in New Zealand and Australia. It's a well-known family name. Holden sadly closed the doors in 2017, which is a real shame. HSV being the tuning house of Holden, of course, they started off in 1987 releasing the first vehicle at the Sydney Motor Show. 1988 was the first time they opened the doors to the public, and people could go in and buy what they believed to be a race car for the road for the family. So this vehicle here, though, this is a 2004, so this is a little bit more like the middle of the generations of vehicles, and it's actually probably one of my favorites. This vehicle is a 5.7 V8 naturally aspirated, which produces 285 kilowatts, which in horsepower terms is 385 indicatively. The engine itself is referred to as an LS1, and the engine is actually, you'll see this vehicle in America as a Pontiac GTO. In the UK, these vehicles were released, the next generation, the E series, and it was considered a Vauxhall VXR8. But anyway, back to this car. This car is a 2004, like I said, and it's in Sting Red, which for me, personally, for a HSV product, is its best colour. This vehicle is actually completely factory standard and is, as you can see, in pristine order. This is actually a very low mileage version, done 53,000 kilometres. So in part 2 of this video, you'll see I've taken it for a drive, and I talk a little bit more about the performance, and I also compare it a little bit to the Ferrari of that generation, which of course was the Ferrari 360. You'll also see a little summary of some of the key features which make this vehicle, or made this vehicle, stand out back in 2004. But for me, we'll jump across to some of the key features, and then, like I said, in part 2 of this video, we will take it for a drive, and I'll talk a little bit more about the performance. The F1 inspired front diffuser, that enormous rear wing, which I personally love. I do like a good spoiler, I'm not going to lie. Okay, it's not as outrageous as a Ford Escort Cosworth, but HSV did stipulate that it provides downforce to keep the back end of the vehicle on the road. Some of these vehicles were fitted with 19-inch wheels and tyres, and all of HSV products, given the amount of power they have performance brakes. And of course, the heart of the lion, the 5.7 V8 LS1 engine. It is something of pure beauty. This was the last year this engine was actually put in this vehicle. This is a VY2. The vehicle which followed this, which looks similar from a distance, was a VZ, which of course had the LS2 6-litre V8, which was up from 285 kilowatts, which is what we have here, to 297 kilowatts. So indicatively, you could almost say 385 horsepower, which is what we have here, to close to 400 horsepower, which was what followed. Moving to the inside of the vehicle, it's a nice place to be. What you have inside is you've got a mixture of luxury and performance, which for 2004, around the mid-2000s, a lot of manufacturers didn't do so well on. If I think back to the Volkswagen Audi of that generation, there was a lot of fake plastic wood, very scratchable materials, and I'm not trying to bag on any particular manufacturer, but there were some manufacturers who did a blend very well. And again, keeping with that simplicity in mind of performance and being a family car, I actually believe that Holden and HSV, Holden Special Vehicles, did very well. I'll start this up, shall I? There's that nice subtle rumble of that 5.7 V8 LS1. The noise is intoxicating. So let's take it for a bit of a drive, shall we? This being an R8 version, This has got those nice performance, fairly wraparound leather seats. They provide ample support. I think that they would easily accommodate somebody around that 6'1", 6'2" mark quite happily. Some vehicles, as we know, performance vehicles can be quite cramped and quite tight. This vehicle is not like that at all. So, in all honesty, if you are somebody who's tempted by one of these vehicles, by all means, give one a go. Power-wise, like we said before, 285 kilowatts, which works out to be around 385 horsepower. Interestingly, 0 to 100 times were rated at 5.1 seconds, but more achievable was something in and around that 5.3, 5.4. It really does depend on a number of factors. I'm not going to try that today, but you know, on a main road we can only drive within the limits. But one thing that is important to note before I take off here is that, again, in this era, a lot of German vehicles, being very German, had a lot of technological features. We had a lot of driver's aids, and I'm all for safety in vehicles, but again, Holden HSV, keeping it very simple. There is one button, and it's traction control on or off, which I've just pushed off. And it's not because I'm going to be silly, but it just gives me the freedom to drive the way I want to drive. It's the sort of sound that would give Greta Thunberg heartburn. The 5.7 V8 LS1 engine, you'll see it across the water in the UK in this vehicle, because you've got a few of these over there. Some of them are imported by enthusiasts, especially the Ute version, which is the HSV Malu. You've got, across in America, of course, we've got the Pontiac GTO. So GM sold this vehicle over there as a two-door coupe, which, of course, for this side of the world in Australia and New Zealand, we're familiar with as a Holden Monaro. Holden Special Vehicles, of course, took that vehicle to the next step and created the HSV GTO, HSV GTS. Basically, HSV being the tuning house of Holden, which of course, as we know, is a combination of Holden and Tom Walkinshaw Racing, which is TWR. They took every vehicle that they could to that next level, but keeping it practical that you can use it every day. What I love about these is there were people in this era that could drop the kids off at school, take it to work, use it as an everyday vehicle, but then on the weekend they put on all their paraphernalia to support their V8 supercar team, and they would go along to the racetrack for the series, and they would just see the vehicle which looks similar to their car they have sitting at home, and cheer it all the way to the finish line. The V8 supercars, of course, in Australia, over the years there were different vehicles which joined in. You had Nissan, you had Volvo, you had Mercedes, and it was brilliant to see those vehicles coming head to head. But I suppose the old classic duo is Holden versus Ford, and those who are in Australia or New Zealand will know exactly what I'm talking about. I've owned the Ford equivalent of this when I lived in Australia, which was a 2004 FPV, which is Ford Performance Vehicle, GT Cobra. Very neat car, hard to clean because the wheels were white and silver, but again, fabulous car. You know, both of them have abundance of character that I still don't think an M5 of this era has. Yes, technologically speaking, the M5 is a wonderful vehicle, and I'm not disputing that. That Formula 1 inspired V10 engine is just a bit of a masterpiece, but the problem is that it's just not as engaging as these to drive. This is so simple. This goes from that, I'm not going to call them agricultural, I'm not going to call them basic, but you know, there's something to be said for a simple 5-speed, or in this case 6-speed manual, connected to a large, naturally aspirated V8 engine that just has a soundtrack. It's like stuffing Morgan Freeman into an exhaust. I could just listen to this all day. It's just fabulous. And you know, the thing is, it's easy to drive. The clutch is not heavy. The steering is not heavy. It's comfortable to be in. And these things, you know, HSV lasted 30 years. So 1987, the doors to the public, as I've said before, they were opened in 1988. And that was the start. That was the vehicle which was nicknamed the Walkinshaw. And 30 years. And it's a real shame that a brand like this had to, you know, had to die away, because the sedan itself, is a vehicle that is considered a bit of a dying breed. HSV, of course, is a brand which is also gone, and you've got to let pedestrians pass every now and again. And you know, it's a shame, but it's a moment in time which I think took a family car to that next level. And you know, it's a time that I'm grateful for that I was around. I didn't grow up in Australia or New Zealand, but I certainly remember these cars, and I remember the reputation that they had, which is why when I came here in 2006, I said to myself, you know, I really want to try one of these, and I got hooked. Sure, I've owned lots of, you know, AMG products, motorsport products, and they're brilliant. I don't see, I'm not biased to a brand, so I'm a proper car person, or what I would refer to as a proper car person. But at the same time, you know, and I've owned some TWR products such as the Volvo 850 T5R, a Volvo 850R, which of course Tom Walkinshaw Racing were heavily involved with for the British Touring Car Championships in the 90s. But there's something about these that just connect to your spirit. If you're a car person at all, that 6-speed manual feeling, and that 5.7 V8 or any sort of V8 engine that's either naturally aspirated or single turbo, twin turbo, it's just a real good recipe for something that'll stir your soul. So, you know, HSV, a product for me that, although I've only had a 15-year connection with it, it's something that's dear to me. And I'm really pleased to have owned this vehicle. The new owner actually collects this today, which is why I wanted to do this short review, because it's a vehicle for me that is probably not to be repeated again. It's a vehicle that I'll sorely miss, and yeah, I just wanted to share it with you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you've got a 6-speed manual that, what is your favorite car? You know, what is the car that has got under your skin and actually connected to you? Share in the comments, please. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for upcoming videos. Please like this video, and please share if you would. You know, these videos, I'm going to start doing more and more of them because I'm very passionate about it, and I'd love to hear from you guys as to what vehicle you believed was the one that got under your skin and that stirs your soul. Honestly, whatever that is, I'd love to hear from it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Dun dun dun! It's Captain Chaos. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Hey, and while you're at it, why don't you comment down on one of the videos below and tell them Captain Chaos sent you?